Alright, I am refilming this because I just noticed there was food on my face when I filmed it before. Hi there, my name is Marley and welcome to my October TBR. I'm going to be talking about all of my reading plans for the month of October, which is very exciting because it is the month of Halloween and spooky season. And like so many other people, I just love that time of year. And I love reading spooky books like thrillers and horrors. I also love watching spooky movies and TV shows. And I'm just really looking forward to having a great time this month. So let's just get into the TBR and the 9 books that I plan on reading this month. If you guys know anything about my reading plans for September, you know that I was reading some YA thrillers. I wanted to kind of continue that trend into this month because it's one of my favorite genres and I have a lot of YA thrillers on my TBR that I want to get to. So starting out, I want to read a couple books from Kara Thomas. If you don't know, she's the author of the popular book Little Monsters. I read this a couple years ago and really liked it, so I'd love to read more of her books. First up, I would like to read That Weekend. This sounds a little bit like a YA version of Ruth Ware's In a Dark, Dark Wood. I know it is about 3 girls who go on a weekend getaway, probably to a cabin or something, I'm not quite sure. Only one girl ends up coming back from that weekend, and of course she has memory problems and can't quite remember what happened during the weekend, so it's a bit of an unreliable narrator type of thing where it's like, did she kill her 2 friends? Or did something else happen to them? It's gonna be a classic, you know, missing girls, murder mystery kind of thing. Looking forward to seeing what the twist is gonna be. Another book I'd like to read from her is called The Cheerleaders. From what I saw of the description of this, it seems like in this town there is a history of bad things happening to the cheerleaders. At the high school, I guess, like cheerleaders keep getting killed and murdered, and so it's gonna be a mystery of who's targeting the cheerleaders or like what's going on with that. Maybe they're cursed or something. I don't know. Then I'm also really excited to read The Mary Shelley Club by Goldy Moldavsky. I got this book, I think last year, but I've been waiting and saving it to read during October. I'm so excited for it based on the premise. It's about a girl who's sort of like an outcast and she's very into horror movies and everything horror. That's kind of like her comfort thing, and then she ends up joining this Mary Shelley Club at her new school, and it's a club where these people do a bunch of pranks and take place in like competitions or something that are based on urban legends and horror movies. So I think it's gonna have a lot of like references to famous horror movies and stuff like that, which could be fun if I'm trying to watch a lot of those in October as well. This just sounds very fun, and I always love a deadly game or competition in YA books, so I think this will be really cool. Haven't heard people talk about it too much, but I think I heard M from 21 Readers give it a pretty good review, and that's what put it on my radar. Then taking a slight turn, I want to read Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is not really a spooky, fun thriller. It's going to be more of like an emotional, impactful one, I'm pretty sure. Similar to her other book, Grown, that I read earlier this year. I'm pretty sure it's just about this girl whose friend goes missing and no one is really caring about her being missing except for our main character. And I think that's all I really know about it, but of course everyone loves Tiffany D. Jackson and I really want to read more of her backlist. Then as always, I want to do another weekly reading vlog, and the theme, of course, because it's October, is going to be horror books. So first up, what I want to read for that vlog is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I was a really big fan of his book, The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I give it 5 stars, so I am really excited to read more of his backlist. This is probably like his second most popular, maybe? I don't know. I've heard good things about it. It's giving Stranger Things vibes, so I love that. I think it takes place in the 80s or something, but it's about these 2 friends and one of them starts acting weird and the other one thinks that they are possessed by a demon. So they are trying to get her like exorcised throughout the book. So I think that would be really fun. Next up, I also want to read The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. He's a pretty popular horror author. I've seen this book be talked about quite a bit on BookTube. This is actually my boyfriend's book, so I'm just gonna steal it from his shelf this month. He didn't really love it that much, but I kind of trust people on BookTube more than him. I'm just gonna read the back of it for the plot. The Only Good Indians follows 4 American Indian men after after a disturbing event from their youth puts them in a desperate struggle for their lives. Tracked by an entity bent on revenge, these childhood friends are helpless as the culture and traditions they left behind catch up to them in a violent, vengeful way. This sounds really creepy. I think it'll be interesting to read for the horror vibes and also for the indigenous elements. Yeah, we'll see. And lastly, for that vlog, I've been kind of going back and forth on what my third book should be, but I think I decided with A Dowry of Blood. What is the name of the author? S.T. Gibson, I think. This book has just been talked about a lot on BookTube, so I've been convinced that I need to read it. All I know about it is that it follows one of the brides of Dracula. I read Dracula a year ago in October, and I really liked that experience. I think I only gave it like a 3-star, but I still just loved reading about Dracula, such an iconic story and figure. So I'm definitely interested in reading more like adaptations or stories that involve him and his bride, so that one should be good. Another book I want to read, it's going to be the book club pick that I have with my friends, and that is going to be The Last Housewife by Shelley Winstead. We really enjoyed reading her first book, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. We all gave it 5 stars, so very excited to read her sequel. From what I understand, this is more of a cult story. I think it's about these 2 friends who are involved in a cult when they're younger and they end up escaping it. And then now in present day, the one friend has died, so the other one is trying to investigate that, and it seems like there are links to this old cult that they used to be a part of. I've heard that it's very disturbing and there's a lot of violence against women, so I'm a little worried to read about that. That doesn't sound fun, but I'm sure it will still be a good book. And the very last book that I want to read is The Butterfly Garden, and it is for the Buzzwordathon challenge this month, which is to read a book with an animal or a creature in the title. So I'm going with butterfly. Not the most like interesting or like creepy animal, but I think this book will be pretty creepy. And butterflies count as an animal, I think, as like an insect. What this book is about is a butterfly garden, which is basically a garden of young girls who have been kidnapped, and there is a figure called the gardener who like kidnaps them and like watches over them or something. Very creepy. I think this is going to be a very creepy, disturbing book. I think we are specifically following a survivor of this garden, and she's sort of recounting her experience to the police, but like some things aren't really adding up with what she's saying. So very interesting. I'm very excited to read this TBR this month. I'm hoping because there's so many thrillers in here, which I typically read quickly, maybe I'll be able to squeeze another couple books in here, but I also want to watch a lot of Halloween themed things too. So yeah, let me know if you guys have read any of these books and have any thoughts on them. Let me know maybe any of the creepy books you plan on reading this month. I really look forward to seeing everyone's Halloween spooky content. Be sure to subscribe if you have not already so you can see my horror reading vlog when it comes out and the other like Halloween kind of content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.